Hey everybody, Benji Lewis here with the Hardscape CEO. Going to go over today. I talk a lot about pricing and job costing, especially in this because this whole chapter, this whole section of the online class is about pricing. So of course we're going to do that. But I thought I would go ahead and pull up my information here on my business, Kansas City Hardscapes, and so that everybody can kind of take a look at this and see what I mean by like really kind of diving into your numbers and knowing them and all that good stuff. So I thought I'd just explain it. Now we're still in the middle of the fourth quarter here for 2022. So I thought I'd pull up 2021 just because we can get a full picture because really you can't see. I'm not going to be able to see full year 2022 until um, you know January 15th before everything is included. Any invoice from a usually we're waiting. Any time that a job costing gets a little tough or drawn out, it's usually because of sub. Anything that we buy. If we're buying materials from Home Depot, Lowe's, any of our suppliers, those are easy. You put those in. It's very simple. Now it's hard when the last guy to come is a plumber that is hooking up the gas lines for a fire pit or fireplace or whatever. And he finally gets done and gets off of there. But then, he said like, hey, it's going to be, whatever the charge is, $2,000. But actually getting an invoice from him sometimes can take a week or two, which is crazy to me. Why would they not send out the invoice that day? Because we don't get it paid like immediately. We're going to pay it within a week, but so they're just stretching out their payment. So it seems kind of weird. But so I won't really be able to look at all of job costing for another month or two and see what 22 is. But 21 gives us a full picture from January 1st all the way to December 31st. So just kind of want to go through this sheet. So the software that I use is Monday.com. And I'm going to get into that on another video. I'm going to go over software that we use to really help us out with pricing and job costing and all that kind of stuff. So Monday is our most integral piece of the entire puzzle because we run most everything through. This is kind of our CRM and our project management tool and everything. So it's not even a certain tool, right? It's not really a CRM. It's probably mostly a project management software, but it's really just a base, and you can kind of make it whatever you want, right? It's not like buying Buildertrend and you're like, hey, this is what you get. It just says, hey, here's all the tools and you can make whatever you want. So it took a little doing, but I don't know, 3 years ago, we probably started using this and it's been fabulous. It was the game changer that we needed, because I kind of looked at all those other software programs that are out there and none of them did enough, right? And probably like you guys are all finding as well. They're tough. They're closer. They're a whole lot better than not doing it, but they're not as good as doing it on a piece of paper or a spreadsheet. They're just not as they haven't figured everything out. Mostly because, again, I'm getting off topic here that I'm going to do in another video that explains all these. Is that they are not. They're wanting to provide you something that makes this overly easy. Where at the end of the day, it does take a little input from you or from somebody on your staff. You're not going to be able to just say like, boom, throw in some pricing for me, please, and that's how much rock we have and geogrid and you name it, right? That's just not the way it works. Unless you guys are just a whole lot more efficient than we are at purchasing. But yeah, typically, yeah, this job calls for 8 ton of 3/4 gravel. Guess what? It called for 11. Hey, this one needed 4, and now she only needed 1. And this need, all those different adjustments. And then anyway, well, we'll get to that in another video. What I want to do is kind of show this. So, and I'll explain what this is showing. So this is typically scoot way over so you can see all the names, but I want to keep it over here to try to hide some privacy. So I'm hiding a bunch of um, columns that have personal information. Not that Stuart or Rick are really watching here, um, but I just want to do what's right by them. I mean, they're my customer. They don't want me putting out their email or their home address. Well, that's pretty cool. So this is kind of just showing. This is everybody. This is all of the customers here, right? So I'm not showing their names because yeah, it doesn't really matter. But I'm also hiding, all of their phone numbers, emails, address, all that kind of stuff. So hiding some of that. I'm also hiding some of. I just don't want you to think I'm hiding like, oh, he's hiding his real numbers or something. But just hiding a bunch of things that are some formulas in the background that are columns that you have to have that we don't need to see, so I could keep it all kind of on one page. Um, the filter is just filtering by 2021, and we're sorting it by profit percentage. So it's really just a glorified spreadsheet, is really what this is. But I want to show what we look at. This is the page in my software that I mostly look at, right? So for Monday, and I know that name is weird because it sounds like, and it is a problem at the beginning when you start using it. You're like, oh, okay, I'll just put that on Monday. And you're like, are you going to put it on Monday the day, or are you going to put it on Monday the software? So it's kind of a mess. I wish they'd have picked a different name, but the software itself is fabulous and inexpensive. So that's kind of nice. I think it is. I thought I had it pulled up over here. Yeah. So 30, you can start at $30 a month. So it's not like a software like some of them I know that are out there that want to help you with budgeting and pricing and job costing and all that are 300, 400, 600, all that kind of stuff. So this can start off cheap. Now I probably end up paying 20, or I probably end up paying $200 a month. But because we've now put, this used to be something that myself and another owner and office manager probably used, and so it was like $30 or $40 a month, whatever it was. But now we've gotten pretty in depth in this, and so every sales rep, every foreman, our punch list guy, our shop guy, I mean, you name it, anybody, we've got them all a seat on here, and I think the seats are, yeah, 10 or $15 a pop. So I'm probably up to $200 a month now, but now it does anything and everything. But back to job costing. So what this is really looking at, or what I look at is, so here's this Stewart job, like this very first one, and it's not actually a good one to use because he had all the material on site. So, but let's just skip it because it makes it weird and it makes it skew. I mean, we don't normally have jobs that are 44% profit. But as we get down into here, let's look at this one for 58, right? So we got a $59,000 project. So we've got a budgeted labor of 7,600. We came in closer to 10 grand. So ouch, not wonderful. Materials were budgeted here. So we had low materials. I can't remember what this project was, but because of that, it ended up being good. But it shows you, right? It shows you our budgeted labor, that percentage of the actual budget materials, actual materials percentage, and then total budgeted cost, total real cost. So we were under by, $6,000 here. And then at the end of the day, the net profit on that job for 24,000. So let's pick another one down here just so you can see one that kind of makes more, sense. This is a pretty good one. Oh, $100,000 project, right? So it's even a big one. $100,000 project, budgeted labor 13,000. We came in, looks like 1,500 under, so that's nice. Budgeted materials of 32,000. We came in at 29, 29 and a half. So we're 2,500 under. Um, so 11 and a half for labor, 29 and a half for materials. That's pretty solid for us, right? It's a 15% net profit. These are the final numbers. Total profit on that job, as you can imagine, 15.1, because it's $100,000 project dead on, and our profit percentage is 15.1. So all of these, and I'm just sorting them highest to lowest, right? As we look down, because if we look, we've got 94 items, right? So we did 94 projects in 2021. So they went anywhere from a couple of these high ones. Now, a couple of these are all three of these were projects where the people had the materials on site. I think two of them were wall block jobs, and they already had the walls that were just falling, but the wall blocks were good enough to reuse. Now we don't, as you can see from the profit percentage, we don't give anybody a break on the price, because we have to take them apart, repalletize them, do all that kind of stuff. So typically, like this one for Steven, our labor is high. It's 23.5%. That's not normal, but on a normal job, but it is because we have zero cost of materials, right? So we just have some more labor to undo all the bad walls, palletize them, redo it, and then put it back together. So that's why those ended up being good. Now the majority of them are down here in this, 13, 14, down to 7, 6%. All right, so we kind of have them color coded. I want everything to stay above 8. Now it doesn't. Of course, we have jobs that are 7.9 all the way down to 5, and then anything 4.9, we would kind of consider these kind of losers as far as those projects suck. So you can see at the end of this year, right? And where do all these numbers come from? Well, our actual labor comes from our payroll service, right? So there's nothing to it. When we get done with Nathan's job here, we look at our budgeted labor and go, hey, that's where we need to stay. And after it's all done and we're off and everything's finished, punch list and everything, then we go and look in our payroll provider. We can do our payroll by job. So we actually picked that on purpose. So that is Gusto is the payroll provider we use, but you can do those by project. So then all we do is click on the project of Nathan there, and it pops up exactly what we paid, including taxes. I mean, you name it, right? Everything down to this is what we paid. This is what we paid in employer taxes. This is everything. So 16,971.39, right? So we put that in. Now the material is a little tougher to get in because it's just a lot of receipts. So it syncs up with QuickBooks, but that's where there's actual work, is to get this number, right? But it's worth it because you really want to know these numbers. So end of the year, we're at 4.7. It's probably actually closer to 5, because as long as Mr. IRS isn't hearing, we do a handful of jobs a year for straight cash, homie. So those actually don't sit in here. We give homeowners a little break if a guy's like, hey, I got 35,000 in cash, you want to give me a certain amount off, and yeah, for certain reasons that makes sense. You can talk to somebody that that's your buddy about accounting and IRS and all that good stuff to see where there are benefits of that. So anyway, our budget labor for the year was 605. We came in at 628. Not horrible, right? 14.6. Budget of materials is 1.49. We came in at 1.47. Pretty good. So we were actually under 30%. That's fabulous. For us, we love that. Total budgeted cost, we were supposed to be at just under 2 million. We came in just over 2 million. Not horrible. We're trying to hit 12. We hit 11.8, right? So total net profit at the end of the year off of 94 jobs is $512,570. So does this take some work and does it take some doing? Yeah. Once we did this 3 years ago, did it completely change our business? Yes. I mean, it made it to where, because believe me, if I searched and redid this whole thing, and I pulled up 2019, or maybe 2018 probably. Oh yeah, it wouldn't be anything on this. Well, probably that first year. I think it was the end of 2018 we started using this. I can't really remember, but one of those years, whenever we first started using, so I was doing it on an Excel spreadsheet and was finding out like, holy moly, our jobs are really bad, you know. So that would have been our second year. I'm like, what is going on? Just couldn't figure it out. So I was like, we got to dive into these numbers, and so I got to find a software program. So I probably tried, I don't know, I probably looked at six or ten of these things. You know, of course, industry ones like Builder Trend and Black Ops, or you know, everything that's out there in our industry, and then also just some other ones like these that are just used for any business that are more generic and can be used by any vertical market. Um, and then once I started using this, it really just kind of eye opened because we were able to do this in real time, right? Because these are actually let's see. No, I'm on the wrong one. But anyway, if I would pull up current jobs, because we have a current tab, but all the personal information is going to show up, so I don't want to do that. But you would be able to see that, hey, this was also done by um, it gets done every single week. So the materials actually get updated every single day, right? As soon as somebody puts in a receipt, boom, it automatically shows up um, over here, so you can see it. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it gets thrown in here automatically. Now the labor we throw in at the end of every week once payroll's been run, so we know, hey, we're sitting at, we got 88.58 in our budget. We're sitting at 58.29. So, hey, we still have $3,000 left. Now, this one's finished and it ended up fabulous, but most of the time, you're just getting an update every week of, hey, this is where we're sitting on this job. Now, it really only comes into play on bigger jobs where you're doing 3, 4, 5, 8 week jobs to really kind of see. I mean, if you're doing a $40,000 job, you're going to have one, maybe two payrolls on it, and that's all you're going to have. So it's not very useful as far as doing that. But at the end of that job, barring a sub kind of drawing us out on getting an actual invoice from them and paying it, we really know pretty fast, usually a day or two afterwards. So we know if something's getting ugly or got ugly, and then we can see why it did, and then we can make corrections to our pricing based on that. So that's all it was. It wasn't, keep in mind when you do your job costing and these things down here start coming in, and believe me, this is where mine were coming in, was everything was down here in these low single digits. When you keep seeing this and you're like, oh man, 22% labor, what is going on here, why are we doing this? And then you dive into Jeff's project here and you're like, hey, here's where all the guys spend all their time, right? This is why we can't hit budget. And you're like, oh yeah, that does seem to be taking longer. Okay, we need to charge for, I'll make up something. We charged $1,200 for all their rock beds going up and down the sides of their houses and around the back. And so then the foreman and my production manager come back to me and go, because I'm going to say to them, hey man, we had $3,000 on this project in labor. We came in at 5,100. What in the world happened? And they're going to go, hey, I was looking through the project to see what happened, and we had $1,200 in rock beds. I had three guys doing that for an entire day. Like we had whatever it is, 4,000 square feet of rock beds to put in, and we charged 1,200. Like, what is the deal? So then we look at that and we see them, we go, oh man, we're only pricing rock beds at $50 a square foot, $80 a square foot, whatever that is. We need to bump that up. That thing needs to be double. So it doesn't, when you do job costing, it doesn't help anything on that project, right? It only helps for the next project. So once you start job costing, it's still going to take a while for that to turn, right? I mean, you can make the switch on a software or on how you do it in a heartbeat. That turn can happen like a sea-doo, right? Like a wave runner. You can look at that and go, man, you can make a 180-degree turn and start going the other way. Now, fixing your pricing or fixing all these little tweaks think of it more like turning a cruise ship, right? I mean, it's a big, huge turn that's going to happen, and it doesn't happen in the next 3 minutes. It's going to take 30 minutes for that ship to turn around, where the wave runner is going to do it in 2 seconds flat. So it's kind of that thing. But all that happens is as you're going along, you've got a bunch of these. Let's say you color coded them the same way I did, right? Red, yellow, and green. I want these are stop. These are warning. These are getting close to being bad, and these green ones are good. Well, all it is most of your page is going to look like red and yellow, and then you're going to throw in a green, and then you're going to throw in another green, then you're going to do a yellow, and then you're going to have a red because something goes bad, but then you're going to have two more greens, and then three more greens, and then the next thing you know, you're like, man, most of our right because if we've got 94 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So we've got what does that be? 9% of our jobs still come in at under 5%, right? So that's and really when I'm managing to these numbers, these are the only ones I'm looking at. These are the ones really from anything 6 or 7% down. This is where we can learn. I really can't learn anything from these top jobs. Something does 22%, 24%, 17.9. What are we going to learn? Like, hey, we had 10% labor and 28% materials. Great. That's lovely. You can give attaboys and congratulations and a little bonus or happy hour for the crew for doing a good job, but you're not learning anything. You're really learning everything down here, looking at this and going, um, man, this is bad. I wonder why this one hurt so much. I wonder why we actually lost money. We like gave the customer money in essence to put in their job. That sucks. Now, years ago, there were 9 of those that totaled 40 grand. And up top, there might have been, um, I don't know, $80,000 in profit. But by the time you took out the 30, you're like, man, we made 50 grand this year. This is not working. So it has to get to the point where the overwhelming majority of these are over 5%, but for sure the negatives have got to get really, really, really low. You just can't have those. And typically the best way that's happened is, again, you start tracking it and then you start knowing that you're not charging enough, that you're going, I mean, a typical job where I would get upset with us as a production side is that I would look at this job, a $40,000 job, and I would go, why is it taking 18%? Why are we at 33% material? Like, we made 5%. We made 2 grand on a $40,000 job. This sucks, guys. What do we do to fix it? Well, the problem was back then we would sell that thing for 32 and you make no money. All right. What we learned was that you have to charge more. So that's why I say pricing, because that's what we did. We raised our prices. We raised them substantially. And once we did that, it's kind of you hate to say cure all because we haven't fixed every problem that we have in the business by any means, but boy, you sure have the ability to help your business out a lot when you can start putting $500,000 profit into the business / into your pocket to figure things out. Right now you have the ability to go hire better people. We've had a couple guys come to us just because of they see us on Instagram or Facebook or whatever those are, and they go, hey, I hate my boss. I hate the owner of our company. I hate my foreman, whoever it is. He's a yeller. I'm tired of getting yelled at. You guys do good work. I happen to know so and so that works on this crew or used to work there, and they said you guys were great. I want to come work there, but man, it's going to take $34 an hour. 3 or 4 years ago, I'd have been like, man, I would love to hire that guy. That guy's probably really good. He's been doing this for 14 years, and he started when he was 17, and he's only 31 or 34 years old, and he's got a lot of years left in him to do this and seems sharp, but I just can't afford to pay somebody that much. Well, that sucks, right? I mean, when you miss out on guys that really know what they're doing because you can't you don't have enough profit in your business to be able to handle bringing some guy on that is making $9 more an hour, which in essence is you're going to spend another 15 to 20 grand on him than you would over a regular guy. Now, will he do more than 15 to 20 grand of work? Probably. I would say yes, actually, because everybody that we've ever hired that's has a lot of experience and comes into it going, "Hey, I don't need a lot of oversight. I know what I'm doing. I'm just looking for a better place to work." Those guys have always worked out for us. When I say always, I mean every single time. The only time that it didn't quote unquote work for us was because the guy was so good that after working for us for 2 or 3 years, he wanted to go out on his own, and we helped him because he should. He was really good and he didn't need us anymore. He had everything he wanted. So we would feed him leads, anything that was like little that we couldn't handle or didn't want to take on, we would give it to him. And if he needed if he needed a dump trailer and he didn't have money to buy a dump trailer yet, I would say, "Hey, I'm going to have an extra one tomorrow. You can use it tomorrow, but I need it back." Or you can use it on Saturday, Sunday if you want to work on the weekends. And he'd come take it and bring it back, and it'd be cleaned and washed out, which I don't remember the last time our foreman actually did that, but he brings it back and it's spick and span because he's getting it for free because I'm not charging him because I'm just helping him out. Now, does he still do we use him as a sub every once in a while when we get too busy or we have something that's really difficult because he is a true craftsman? Yeah, we still use him, right? We've kept up that relationship instead of saying, "I can't believe that guy, what a jerk." He learned from us on how to do this and then left me. I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm all for you going out on your own." And I've told him all the time, I'm like, "If it doesn't work out for you, there's a spot right back here on any one of my crews that you can take because that guy's a fabulous worker." But I'm getting off topic. If you have the profit right here in this number that's enough, you can choose to hire guys and just gives you a lot more flexibility than if this number says 60 grand, than if it says 300 grand. At 300 grand, you can kind of do things that you want to do that you can't do or less. So, but I just want to show you guys these are our numbers. This is where we sit. This is how we do it. Um, it's hard, right? The materials, getting everything in here, it's tough, but these are actual numbers too. These are not estimates. Our foremen don't say, "Hey, I think I'm going to need 10 tons of rock." And so they put in 10 tons, but then they really ended up buying 14 and they forgot to go back in or they didn't want their job costing to look bad, so they didn't do it. So ours go off pure receipts. So nothing gets hidden. If there's ever a receipt that comes through QuickBooks that somebody bought something, but the receipt's not in here, so that's where my accountant office person will say, "Hey, Jeff, hey, Evan, hey, anybody that, whoever charged it on their specific card, hey, where's this go to?" And they'll go, "Oh man, I must have lost that receipt. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's for I bought what drainage pipe at Home Depot. Sorry about that. I missed that. It was $116, whatever the number is." So ours is dead on every single time. There's no estimating it. There's not estimating labor. There's not estimating materials. Everything's true numbers. And so at the end of the year, at the end of the job, if you look at this job for Shelly here, that we made $3,600, $58 and 69 cents. Right, that's what we made. So that's what we do. I think this should be the goal for a lot of guys, is to get to this and actually understand it, because if you see these numbers in black and white, they're ugly because they're probably gonna be ugly at the beginning. It's eye opening, and it lets you know we can't keep doing this. Like I'm not gonna. I'll go work for somebody else and have a better life and probably make more money. It's either that or I'm going to try to sell at high prices. And if I can't sell at high prices, then it's time for me to go somewhere else and find another job. But my guess is if you start selling at high prices, you'll actually sell them. You'll sell them at the same rate. We haven't gone up or down. We have the same close percentage throughout the years, whether or not we're selling at $20 a square foot or $50 a square foot. So it just comes down to getting people what they want and solving their problems. So if you guys have any questions or anything, of course, reach out. Let me know questions, comments, all that stuff. So we will talk to you later. See ya. Bye.